everybody, this is Jamie. I'd like to invite you to join me in my evening movement practice. So, something I really love about practicing yoga, movement-based meditation, and EMDR altogether is this recognition and respect for the power of back and forth movement, simple bilateral movement that we can use with clients if we feel it's within our scope and safety to do so, or we could just use it for ourselves. When I teach bilateral mindful movements in a course on EMDR and mindfulness, something I tell my attendees is even if you never feel comfortable passing this on to a client, although I hope you do, you can do this for yourself, for your own clinical health and wellness. To me, one of the critical definitions of self-care is not to do nothing for days in a row, continue going with the grind, and do one good yoga class on the weekend. But rather, it's accessing these little pockets of movement, of wellness throughout our day, even if they happen only in 2-3 minute spurts. Heck, even if they happen in 30-second spurts. I would rather see those done consistently, especially moving-based practices. So, wherever you're at, in your kitchen, your living room, your office, I will ask you to just kind of wiggle yourself into a grounded position. Keep the shoulders melted away from the ears. I always like to do a shoulder check. I have the tendency to spike these shoulders. So shoulders melted away from the ears, nice breath. Remember that you can leave your eyes open or closed throughout this practice, whatever feels better for you. And if anything ever feels like pain or approaching pain, back off. That's a good way to prevent yourself from getting hurt, is to practice a little mindfulness by not striving or stretching too far, but taking it a micro movement at a time, pairing each part of that movement with breath, and see where you can go. As a teacher of mine says, be curious about what your body can do instead of forcing your body to do. So let's begin by breathing the arms overhead, shoulders away from the ears. Bring your left hand to your right knee. Peeking over the right shoulder, maybe looking at the right hand. Perhaps you can wrap your arm around the back of your chair. But if that's not feeling doable in your body, go where you can, non-striving. Take a breath. Next inhale, arms overhead. And whatever we try on one side, let us at least try it on the other, even if it feels a little different. So remember, non-striving. A yoga tradition I've studied with has said, you know that you're going too far in a stretch if you're holding the breath to maintain that stretch. So arms overhead, and on the next one, really be mindful of that. Notice. Am I trying, stretching too hard just to get that twist, to get around the chair and lose my breath in the process? If so, you are trying too hard. Next inhale, arms overhead. Check the breath. Inhale, arms overhead, and back to center neutral. So if for any of these exercises you feel like you need more of something, pause the tape, take a few more sets, and then you can resume. So now I'll ask you to bring both hands to your knees for support and grounding, and invite you to make big circles with the upper body. I've heard some yoga teachers call this scooping the peanut butter char, turning the butter. Whatever circle visual works for you, change directions. Your chair may be squeaking like mine, and that's okay. use that as one more sensory detail to help you ground, to help you really be here with the mindful movement. Let every breath you take with every micro movement be a part of the meditation. And then back to neutral. Taking a breath, letting it go. What are you noticing now? So we will do the same thing with our neck that we just did with our upper body. So begin by peeking your chin over your right shoulder, and then chin over the left shoulder. And continue with that. Maybe matching breath. Inhale. Exhale the other side. Inhale. Exhale the other side. Inhale. Exhale the other side. One more set. Inhale. And exhaling the other side. Take a moment and come back to center neutral. Breathe in, breathe out, and notice what you notice. So I'll now invite you to bring your chin to your chest. And roll the chin along your chest, first to the right side, and then to the left. So if you have the range of motion and want to try it, make full circles with your neck. Though if you have a neck injury or you're not quite feeling it today, stay with the side to side sweeping motion. Back to neutral. So this next exercise can be done either sitting down or standing up. I will start it sitting down and then we'll transition here to standing it up. So bringing the right arm out across the midline. So not moving with the arm, but keeping your upper body and your head squared forward. And if you want a little extra resistance, bring the opposite hand to the upper arm. And then down, breath. Other side, out. Across, and down. Out, across, down, out, across, and down. Take a breath. What are you noticing? So if you'd like, let's transition to standing. So now in standing, out, across, keeping your hips square, down, out, across, down, out, across with the resistance if you wish, and down, out, across, down. So you can continue with the same pattern, doing it as a stretch. If you want to play a little bit more with free, creative movement, add a little bit of a sway and a little more flow. So you may notice a little more bend in the knees, a little more pop in the hips. And you may be surprised that this feels a bit like dancing to you. But if you have a hard time with that word dancing, maybe embrace this as mindful movement. Noticing whatever judgments, whatever forcing or striving may come up. And when you come back to standing neutral, take a breath. What are you noticing now? So one final move here that I'll invite us into in the spirit of the standing bilateral motion is a move that may feel like a bit of a throwback to middle school gym class. But it is fundamentally very bilateral in the Qigong tradition, a very stimulating exercise that can perhaps wake you up, specifically if you really let your hands kind of smack your body as you twist. It stimulates the adrenal glands. And if you want to put a little more force into it, come on up to the opposite foot, but only do that if it feels like you can move this way without risking injury or harming yourself. Sure to keep checking the breath. And then eventually kind of wiggling yourself into a standing or still position. And notice whatever you're noticing now after taking these mindful movements. You may need to continue more, especially if you're feeling like you built your energy up and want to continue going with it. Or maybe your body, your mind, your spirit is craving some more settled meditation time to sit, to breathe, and to be. Wherever you take your practice from here, thank you for joining me for these bilateral mindful movements today.